Welcome to tonight's live stream. I'm going to get started in a minute. I just need to let everybody on social media know that the stream is going on. Okay. Okay, everybody on social media now knows that the stream is on. And before I get into tonight's topic, I want to go into some perfunctory that regarding some SJS Direct products and some progress report on some upcoming SJS Direct products. Now, my new book, ISIS Legacy, is going to be on Amazon.com on Kindle on the 17th. And if you want to pre order a copy of ISIS Legacy on Amazon Kindle, you can do so by clicking the link in the chat. And that helps out a lot with the SJS Direct imprint. So that helps out a lot. And I'm trying to get at least 10 sales with the debut of ISIS Legacy. So if you guys could go out here and pick up ISIS Legacy, that would be greatly appreciated. So ISIS Legacy is available in paperback right now, and you can get the paperback version and order the paperback version. But the Kindle version is going to be available on the 17th, and that is the official launch date of the SJS Direct 2022 catalog. And the first book coming is ISIS Legacy. So that's one of the first things that's related to SJS Direct. The second one, as related to SJS Direct, is right now I am editing Eastern Horror of the Hyena Woman, and I'm hoping to get the pre-order up for Eastern Horror of the Hyena Woman soon. I've had the cover from Bill Walko for a couple of weeks, but I wanted to hold off on launching that book until I got the sales on ISIS Legacy and got things going with ISIS Legacy. Now, another book, John Haynes at Death's Door, the comic book, we have 31 of 32 pages from Antonio Barberi complete. And all I'm waiting for is one more page and a cover. And I'm hoping to have the John Haynes at Death's Door Kickstarter ready for launch. So 3 of those projects are getting ready to go as related to SJS Direct. I mean, the 2022 catalog is kicking off with ISIS Legacy, and I'm hoping to have Eastern Horror of the Hyena Woman's pre-order up soon, and the John Haynes Kickstarter for the comic. Everybody has seen the art. I've posted many pages, so I'm hoping everybody comes out and picks up the Kickstarter because I would love to share more comics with you. Now, with all of that perfunctory done, I also want to talk about another book, The Woman Crisis. I finished the first draft of The Woman Crisis, and I'm hoping to have that book up this fall. So The Woman Crisis, the follow-up to The Man Crisis, is coming. And all I have to do now is start editing this book down from its 60,000 words to its whole final version. Now, all of that perfunctory is practically finished, so I'm going to get into tonight's topic. Now, tonight's topic is related to one of my most popular blogs, Why Real Men Avoid Single Mothers. Now, back in 2012, I wrote a blog called Why Real Men Avoid Single Mothers as part of the Men's Issues articles I started writing as related to my blogging career. And this, out of all of the Men's Issues blogs I have written, has been the one that has practically gone viral multiple times. I mean, when I first wrote Why Real Men Avoid Single Mothers, a lot of men all over the world, this blog resonated with them, and a lot of men related to what I was talking about in that blog. And that blog has gone on to have been seen all over the world, I think at least about over a couple of 100 million times, because even at the 10-year mark, people are still debating this blog. Now, I wrote the Why Real Men Avoid Single Mothers blog based on my experiences here in the South Bronx. Now, the South Bronx is the capital of single mothers, and it is a place where we have a large population of single mothers. And as a boy growing up in the South Bronx, I saw a lot of the ratchet behaviors that single mothers were participating in, and I saw how these behaviors were destroying the lives of men all around them. And as I saw this growing up as a boy in the South Bronx, it really disturbed me because it was a lot of guys winding up in really bad situations. And these situations were practically destroying the lives of these men. And I didn't want to see another generation of young men get their lives destroyed the same way I saw men getting their lives destroyed in the 1980s. Now, my first experience seeing a man get his life destroyed by single mothers, I can remember it vividly because I think I was about 8, 9 years old. And I was waiting for the Jeffersons to come on 11 o'clock at night on Channel 11. And I was watching the Independent Network News. And as I was watching the Independent Network News, I heard a story of a man who was murdered after he got involved with a single mother. And that incident, hearing about it on the news, stayed with me ever since I was about 8, 9 years old. And ever since then, I said to myself, back then as a kid, I would never, ever get involved with any sort of single mother because it's a situation where you're going to wind up jammed up. And after hearing about this man losing his life because he decided to date a single mother, that was one of my first experiences seeing a man practically lose the ultimate thing, which was his life. And I saw other things going on growing up in the South Bronx as related to guys getting their lives completely messed up by getting involved with single mothers. And I take all of that, all those experiences I saw growing up, and I put it into this classic blog because I didn't want to see another man wind up getting his life destroyed by one of these female predators. Now, the main reason why your men get involved with your single mothers has to do with their self-esteem. And the main reason why a lot of these guys go out here and pursue a relationship with a single mother is because they don't believe they can go out here and find a quality woman. Now, some of these guys, they grew up in single mother households, and they think that they have to settle for whoever comes to them, and they don't believe that they have any sort of standard that they have to set for themselves. So they think that they just have to settle for who's there. Now, there are other guys who are out here who want to get involved with a single mother because they believe that this is going to be an easier woman to get involved with than a other woman out here. So a childless woman, they're thinking that they're going to have a harder time with the childless woman, and that comes from their low self-esteem. They really believe that they're not going to get a better woman, so they go out here and think, oh, I'll just try to get with this single mother because I can get an easy yes out of this woman. And because they don't want to hear no from women, they go out here and think that they have to deal with this single mother. And what that does is it's a reflection of the male not getting enough male presence in his life and masculine energy and somebody there to teach him some sort of self-worth or self-esteem. So that is the core foundation for why a lot of guys go for single mothers. And these guys, again, as I see it, they wind up selling themselves short. So you have a lot of guys out here who think, oh, I can't do better than the single mother. And they wind up going out here and getting involved with this woman, thinking it's going to be the best they can do in some cases. And others think that, oh, this is the best I can get. But again, that's you selling yourself short. And that's why you have to go out here and listen to other men, because the whole thing is getting involved with a single mother is a complete disaster. Now, in my classic blog, I told everybody that dating a single mother is a headache, and it is a recipe for drama, and way more drama, because they're getting involved with this woman is not going to be beneficial to you, because as a man in God, who wants to be a part of God's natural order, you cannot be the head of household the way you need to be in order to lead your household. Because the whole thing is, with this woman, she will not really let you lead your home. She won't let you be the one in charge, because everything in her life is about her. And what she wants to do is have men being out here being under her. So you can't be the head of your household because you're dealing with all of her issues. Now, the biggest issue that I pointed out in the blog was that this woman is never available, and that's something many guys really need to think about as related to these single mothers. So you can go out here and be talking to this woman and looking to arrange any sort of date to try to have a relationship with her, and she is not going to have an open schedule. And she's not going to have an open schedule for two reasons. One reason she's not going to have an open schedule is because she's got a child, and that child, the priorities are always going to be focused on the child. And so every time you try to arrange some free time with this woman, you're not going to be able to get any sort of time with this woman. So you'll always be getting her canceling on you and calling out on you. So this woman is not going to be able to give you one of the most important intangibles for a relationship, which is time. And because she won't be able to give you time, that's going to make it where you cannot really build a strong relationship with this woman. And again, her child will always be first in her life, but there will always be somebody else who will be a bigger priority than you. And that is that baby daddy, because she's always going to be making time for him because he is the father of those children. So she's not going to make you the number one as related to availability the way a childless woman would make time for a man. Now, a childless woman, she is going to be available, and she's going to want to be available because her emotions are open to you. And because her emotions are open to you, she's going to want to spend time with you. So that's why she's never available, and that's why you are not a priority. And that is the second point that I point out in the classic blog. you are not a priority. And since you are not a priority, you are going to wind up last. Thank you, Darius from Atlanta, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to donate to the super chat, you may do so as well. And if you want to donate to the Cash App, you can donate to the Cash App as well. So I'm going to get back into the you are not a priority. And you're definitely not going to be a priority for this woman because her priorities are her kids. Her priorities are taking care of those kids. And her other priority is her job. So she's got kids, job, and possibly baby daddy. And that means you are number 4. And with you being number 4, that means you're practically dead last, and she'll get to you when you're dead before she gets to you last. So this, again, is another part of wasting the most important intangible as related to yourself, and that is time. And this is something many guys who go out here and pursue single mothers don't understand, that time is precious. And once you lose time, you can't get time back. So you wind up wasting the intangible of time getting involved with a single mom, and you wind up losing all of the time as related to years out of your life. So what a lot of guys think, oh, I'm going to get an easy deal getting involved with this single mother. What they wind up losing is the intangible of time, because you could have gone out here and gotten involved with a childless woman who would not give you a lot of grief, would not be constantly canceling on you and not putting you last, and somebody who would actually be able to work with you in a relationship and be more cooperative, because the single mom is not going to be cooperative and look to work with you. She's looking for you to work with her and work around her life. And that's not an optimal position for a man who is a steward under God. No, a man who is a steward under God and wants to be the head, he wants a woman who is going to be a partner in a relationship, who is going to be looking to work with him, not looking to try to go out here and work with someone else and try to work in their world and work with their other people in their lives, like their baby daddy and the grandma and everybody else. He can't really lead his household because he's following everybody else. And that's another problem with dealing with a single mom, is that you're in the follower position. And when you're in the follower position, you are placed in a submissive role, not the leadership role. And that's what happens when you're not a priority. You wind up being put dead last, behind her kids, the job, the car, the kitchen sink, the stopped up toilet, and the dog. I mean, you are dead last. And why should you wind up dead last when you are supposed to be first? I mean, the man is the head. So when the head is at the back, your only thing you're going to get is dysfunction. Now, this leads into the other talking point I presented, which is how this woman thinks the world revolves around her and only her. And again, your single mother, from what I've seen growing up in the South Bronx, is one of the biggest narcissists in the dating scene. And she thinks every man has to drop everything in his life to be part of hers. And they think that everything is about the man catering to her. And we see this happen a lot of times with the stepfathers out here. A lot of these guys, they wind up catering to the woman, and they wind up not getting the most important intangible of manhood, and that is respect. Because when he is seen as being in her world, she doesn't think she has to respect him, and she sees him as just a tool she can use. And we see this in shows like the Cleveland Show. If you've ever watched the Cleveland Show, basically Cleveland Brown is not really seen as the head of his household. He's basically seen as a joke. And the woman he married, who he had wanted to get involved with, I don't remember what her name is, because I think it was Donna or something like that. But She was out here with a Pookie. She had two kids by the Pookie. And then she went out here and then saw Cleveland Brown years later. And what happened with Cleveland was he wound up involved with this woman. He married her. And then after he married her, he was practically in her world, and he was stuck in a nightmare of a world. And the whole thing was he was the one who was in the background of his own home. And he was in this world where everything was revolving around the woman, but nothing was about him. So your needs wind up being completely forgotten, as you were just there basically to be the ATM who pays for her bills, pays for her kids' bills, and goes out here and takes care of everything at her house. You're basically the butler, and you're cleaning up all the messes. And that's what happens to guys out here. Yeah, I haven't forgot Disney's Stepdad, D Wood 78, part 2. I mean, that one is another one where the guy was basically, he was made into a joke. And that's where you're going to wind up if you get involved with single mothers. You're going to wind up in a situation where you're going to wind up being her butler, and you're going to be in this place serving her, and all of the goals and aspirations you had for yourself, they're going to wind up completely forgotten as you go out here trying to take care of somebody's family, and you wind up trying to take care of somebody else. So I saw the Stepdad video, and that was the ultimate form of emasculation. I mean, it was embarrassing to watch that whole little Disney movie. They were trying to put stepdads in a positive light, but it's nothing positive for you if you put yourself in the stepdad position, because the only thing that's going to happen to you in that place is you're not going to be seen as a leader. You're not going to be seen as an authority figure. You're not going to be somebody who's respected by the woman you're involved with, her kids, her family. Nobody is going to see you in any way, shape, or form in the way a man is supposed to be seen. And the same woman will be sitting back there laughing at you and mocking you because she doesn't see you as a man. She basically sees you as a tool. Now, that leads into another thing. When you're a part of her world, what happens is she's emotionally unavailable, and she's emotionally unavailable because her emotions are tied to another man. And this is something many men who get involved with single mothers don't understand. This woman's emotions are tied to another man because when she had sex with that man, what happened was her soul became tied to that man, because when a man and a woman lie together, the two become one. And when her spirit comes connected to that man, that is a connection that is not going to be broken, because the whole thing is she's not emotionally available to you because she's already in a relationship with another man. And as long as she's got those ties to that man, that's the man she's going to have a connection with. So a lot of these guys, they think, oh, I'm going to get involved with the single mom and I'm getting a second chance with this woman. No, you're not getting any chance, because all of her emotions are still tied to that man who she initially had a sexual relationship with. And she's very much spiritually tied to that man because she had his baby. And because all of her emotions are tied to that man, that's the man who she's got a bond with. And that bond is not something that is going to be broken. And that's something that many of these guys out here who want to go out here and get involved with single mothers don't understand. This woman is already bonded to another man. And because she's bonded to another man, she cannot form an emotional connection with you. And an emotional connection is very important, because when you're getting involved with women, women are emotional. And if they're not emotionally connected to you, you have no relationship with you. And this is something that a lot of guys who get involved with single mothers don't understand, because they are the ones who have the feelings of like, and they think because the woman likes them, there's a possibility for a relationship. But just because the woman likes you does not mean she's connecting with you. And that's the difference between like and respect. When a woman respects you, she shows that, and that's a connection to love. And you want respect, not like. And that's the problem with a lot of guys who get involved with single mothers. They think, oh, she likes me, but love is connected to respect. So if her emotions are not really connected to yours, you're not really in a relationship with her. So that is something many guys out here who get involved with single mothers don't understand. They're thinking, oh, she's physically here for a relationship because a man is gone, but emotionally, she's not there. Yes, women can be physically in the building with you. And I talked about this in a previous show as related to your Jada Pinkett and I think what the Steph Curry's father's wife who divorced him, um, Joe Curry, Sonia Curry. And the whole thing is, in both of those cases, those guys thought, oh, I'm having a relationship with this woman because she's physically here. But when it comes down to most women, if they're not emotionally connected to you, there's no relationship there. And when you're dealing with women who are, again, single mothers, they have an emotional relationship with their child's father. They have a spirit bond, a pair bond, and they have a bond with that child. So you have nothing with this woman. You have no connection whatsoever with this woman outside of resources and just being there. So again, this is a waste of your time. This woman is emotionally connected to another man. And because she's emotionally connected to another man, she is sufficiently obligated emotionally. If that's a term I learned when I was applying for a credit card once, and they told me that I was sufficiently obligated with credit cards and they didn't want to give me one. And the whole thing is, I see it applied as related to your single mother. She's sufficiently obligated. She's got obligations to this other man that are sufficient to meet her emotional needs. So she does not need you. And that's why you need to go find someone else. Because again, you're wasting one of the greatest intangibles of your life, which is time, trying to form an emotional connection with somebody who is already emotionally connected to somebody else and cannot connect with you. And that was a point that I wanted to drive home to everyone in the blog, because that focus of emotional unavailability is something that is not going to make your relationship work. Because if she's not emotionally available, then there is no relationship foundation. There is no way she is going to respect you. And if you can't get respect, she's not going to want to work with you in the relationship, because she's not going to want to follow your lead. And because she's out here wanting to go out here and have that emotional relationship with another man, she's not going to want to have that emotional relationship with you. Now, this leads into one of the core points of the blog, and that is the ex or the baby daddy is always there. Now, one of the big things that keeps many men who are involved with single mothers from getting closer is that baby daddy. And growing up in the South Bronx, I saw a lot of men wind up in bad situations because they didn't understand why that baby daddy is always there. Now, that baby daddy is always there and popping up like a horror character from a horror movie is because he's bonded to that woman. His spirit is still bonded to that woman. That woman's DNA is a part of him. That's a point I took from Ringo, Black Male Advice TV. And as long as he's got those spiritual and emotional bonds to that woman, his instincts are always going to draw him to that woman. So you thinking that you can have a relationship with this woman, but this woman is tied to this man. And those ties that that man has to that woman are always going to draw that man into that woman's life. And he's going to naturally see you as a threat to his home. And that is why he's going to get really defensive and emotional, because he sees you as a threat to his home and he sees you as a threat to his family. These are just natural things as related to men. And this guy, he could again be thousands of miles away, gone from his family, wants nothing to do with this woman, but those instincts are gonna kick in and go out here and be the thing that drive him to go out here and look to attack you. So this baby daddy, he's never going away. And in a lot of cases, he hasn't gone away. Yes, he may not be living with this woman and she may be talking bad about him, but the minute he pops up or shows up somewhere, he's going to be getting involved with this woman. So he is already marked his territory, and that mark is not something that is going to be erased. So you'll be thinking, oh, I'm going to have a relationship with this woman. No, you're not going to have a relationship with this woman because she's sufficiently obligated to this man, and she's going to be continuing to have a relationship with that man, even though you're trying to have one with her. And a lot of these guys, they don't really understand that the baby daddy is never really gone. And the baby daddy is oftentimes when you're not looking around, is he's out here getting her to drop the skid mark thong, and he's getting access to those panties that you are being told, oh, I don't have time right now. I think we should wait a while. No, she's still going and giving that man some draws, and she's going out here making sure he gets a taste of that atomic waste. And I've heard many guys sit there and say that they found out, oh, she was still sleeping with the baby daddy when she was going out there with him. I mean, this is something I've heard a lot of horror stories on. A lot of guys are sitting there, they're getting angry and wanting to fight this guy and getting mad at this guy. But the whole thing is that this guy has a bond with this woman. This guy has a soul tie with her. And because her emotions are still connected to that man, she may badmouth him. She may disrespect him. She may talk all greasy about him to you. But the whole thing is, if that man walks into that house, he will be getting access to those draws. So you again are number 5 on the list, and you're the guy sitting there with the ashy dick and the dry balls, and she's out here letting this guy smash all day long. And he's again got the right to smash all day long because that basically is the mother of his children. That is the first man she was with, possibly. But the whole thing is, that's the man she has ties to. And since she has ties to that man, whenever that guy comes around, her whole demeanor is going to change. And a lot of guys, they're not really looking at the demeanor of this woman when she's out here with the baby daddy, because a lot of times you will see her whole facial expression, her whole body language, all of this will change, and she will start to become more friendly, more submissive, and more cooperative with the baby daddy. And that leads to a lot of guys winding up in situations where when she's instigating these fights, which are basically crap tests, she sends you out here to play Captain Save 'em. You've got your little Mickey Mouse galoshes and your Ben Cooper cape on, saying, oh, I'm going to defend her honor. No, you're being set up for a crap test. And this is something that I saw happen to your Gabriel Aubrey as related to, your Oliver Martinez as related to Halle Berry. Now, your Halle Berry a couple of years ago, she set up one of these crap tests. I mean, Gabriel Aubrey was out here on Thanksgiving Day bringing back his daughter, and your Oliver Martinez got sent out here to go fight him. And that's the type of game that a lot of these single mothers love to play, because they want to see if this baby daddy is going to be a protector. And what they're doing is setting you up to be the villain of her story. Because once she has the baby daddy and you fighting each other, she calls 911. And when she calls 911, what happens is that they then say you're the one who started the fight, and then you're in lockup, and you're scared for your life because you're not dealing with her anymore. You're dealing with Bubba and Tiny and the possibility of being traded for some Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, cups of coffee, or some candy bars like Kit Kat. I mean, that has happened to so many men out here who got involved with single mothers. They'll get in a fight with the baby daddy, and then they find out that the woman turns the tables by saying that he started it. And then, as you're being pulled off in handcuffs and spending a night in jail or a couple of months in jail, depending on whenever you get to see the judge, while you're trying to fight off Bubba and Tiny's advances, she's out here getting her back blown out by baby daddy. Baby daddy is out here smashing the same woman you're sitting here fighting over, and you're sitting up there thinking, oh, dude, I don't want you to put your hand in my pocket. And that's all because you don't understand the whole part as related to the bonds this woman has already had and the games she's playing with you. Because basically, what she's doing is making you a pawn in her games, and what she wants to do is show how she still has worth and value on the dating marketplace. Now, her value in the dating marketplace is a $5 food stamp without the book. But what she wants to do is see if she still has value to that baby daddy, and she wants to get that baby daddy emotional and upset by showing you that are paying attention to her. And since you pay attention to her, this gasses her head up and makes her think that she still has the same worth she had in the dating marketplace, but her actual value is $5 food stamp without the book. And most people don't want to accept that food stamp unless they have the book, because the book means the seal has not been broken. But with the $5 food stamp outside of the book, we don't know where this food stamp came from. And the only guy who's accepting the food stamp, $5 outside without the book, is the simp. And that's what these guys are who get involved with her, and they get wound up, locked up, and they wind up in that situation trying to fend off the advances of Bubba and Tiny, all while she's getting turned out by the same baby daddy. Now, that leads into the other talking point, which is the kids are always working against you. And those kids, they have bonds with their mother, and they have bonds with the baby daddy. So they have bonds with that kid, with the baby daddy, and they have bonds with the mother. So they don't really see you as any sort of leader. They don't see you as any sort of authority figure, and they don't respect you. And like the mother, they see you as a tool. So this is a very dangerous situation for a guy to be in when you're dealing with a single mother's kids, especially if she has girls. Because if you're a guy and you're in that situation with girls, you're going to be dealing with an allegation of some sort of abuse. And that allegation of abuse, again, can lead to you winding up in lockup and you winding up having to fight for your own personal reputation. So you don't really want to be in a situation dealing with a single mom, because there's people are always going to give you the side eye, especially if she has daughters. So you're in there with this woman's kids, and you're never going to really be able to build any sort of bonds of trust. So what's going to happen is that you're going to have an adversarial relationship. You can't really be the leader of the house. You can't get the authority that you need to do things because the mother has not taught her kids to respect your authority, and you cannot be able to make the decisions you need to make as related to running your home. So everything has to go through the mom and not through you. So she's seen as the authority figure by the kids, and the kids are working against you because they have feelings for the baby daddy. What's going on, Frank Nitty XX? Glad to see you here. It's talking about these, again, the 10th anniversary of why real men avoid single mothers. I mean, I wrote that blog back in 2012, and 10 years later, people are still debating it. This blog has gone viral multiple times, and I wanted to go in depth a bit about it because I wrote that blog to help so many men, and it's looking like it's having a major impact on men almost 10 years later. So 10 years ago, I wrote this blog, and it's still resonating with people. People are still debating this blog. They're still trying to refute it. A lot of the single moms, they come out here trying to refute this blog and many of the talking points, but they can't refute the blog because the facts are all there. The facts come from my life experiences seeing single mothers in action ever since I was a little boy and seeing their behavior in action. That's the reason why I wrote this blog, because I don't want to see, again, guys getting jammed up the way I saw guys get jammed up in the 80s. I mean, I've seen guys wind up getting jammed up where they wind up, like in the first one, I was 9 years old, the guy got killed fighting over one. Got guys getting locked up in the penitentiary system, or the worst case scenario, he has kids with this single mother. That is the worst case for a guy out here who gets involved with a single mom, is he goes out here and has kids with this woman because he's now in a situation where he's now in a place where he cannot lead his family. And even worse, now he's on the hook for child support, and he's stuck with this woman for 18 years. So he's on the same cell block that the other baby daddy was, and he's soon to be hearing the same bad stories she told him about the other guy being told about him. So he's in a situation where he's going to wind up getting jammed up just as bad. And all of those horror stories that she spoke about man number one, she's now talking about him. And as she's telling those stories, what he's finding out is that she's revising history and making herself out to be the victim. And he's out here, he was out here thinking he had a real shot, but he never had a shot outside of being a tool, because your single mothers have a very entitled attitude and they think the world owes them everything. I mean, these women think that the world owes them the best in life, but the whole thing is they didn't really give anybody the anything worth having. I mean, outside of dropping a skid mark thong for some guys out here and giving them some taste of the atomic waste, they have not really helped any man go out here and build something. They have not really helped a man go out here and take care of any business. No, they think they are owed everything, but they haven't put in any sort of work to help any man out here. And that's the whole thing that really is the worst thing about these kinds of women. They think that, oh, he's supposed to go out here and give me the very best. These are the ones sitting up here talking about they want the high value man. And they're sitting up there talking about they want to get with a millionaire. But the whole thing is, why would anybody who has any sort of self-worth get involved with a single mother who has got kids with another man and is having a relationship with that other man and giving that man access to her body and has a bond with that man and has emotions tied to that man? Those are the critical questions many single mothers don't ask, because many single mothers think that they are owed the world and they think that they are the most beautiful thing out here because they have a distorted self-image. A lot of your single moms, they think that they are extremely hot. They think that they are the best thing out there. And I've seen this in the South Bronx, a lot of them thinking, oh, I'm so fly, I'm so fine. But you're a single mom out here and you're not even in the home with your own husband. No, the woman who has married, she can say that she is fine because she is with her husband. And the single woman without kids can say she is fine. But it's like she's not fine at all because your situation is dysfunctional. And you're sitting there with the muffin top popped over the jeans. And I've seen that. And I've also seen the leggings looking like some sort of sage rope sausage, and they think that they're so fine, but no, you're not fine at all. You're just in I don't know what planet they think that they're fine on, but they're not fine at all. And they have this ego that is just massive. And these women will go out here and put on the skinny jeans, then they'll put on the crop t-shirts, and they'll have the tattoos that are all distorted and out of shape due to weight issues and stuff like that, all blurted out. And they're sitting there trying to make you believe they're the hottest thing out there. And because the simps are out here thinking, have no idea of what women are like, what they do is they go out here and think they gas these women's egos up and make them think that they're hot when they're not. Now, most men who have standards look at the single mom and say, no, you're not hot at all. You look ridiculous, and it's embarrassing to see you putting yourself out there looking in a way that does not reflect positivity as related to your child. I mean, you're still as I see it, in a lot of these cases, in a case of arrested development mentally and emotionally. And a lot of these women, once they have the kids, they feel insecure. So they start trying to dress in a more sexy fashion to overcompensate for their feelings of inadequacy and self-worth. And they go out here and they try to dress up in a sexy fashion, trying to get these guys to pay them attention. Again, trying to get their egos stroked, but not looking to build relationships with anyone. What they're looking to do is get that ego stroked, and that's why they're putting on those outfits, because they're insecure about where they are in the marketplace, which is the $5 food stamp zone. Now, a lot of these single mothers, as they're pulling their games out here, what they do is they always play the victim. And whenever she gets called out for pulling things like what Halle Berry did to her baby daddy, a crap test, what these women do is they try to make themselves out to be the victim. They'll go out here and run games where they'll tell one guy that, oh, the baby daddy is beating me up, the baby daddy is no good, and they'll send Mr. Beta Male out here to go fight the other guy. But then when he starts fighting the other guy, she makes it all about her, and she's always playing the victim. So you're dealing with a single mom, you're going to be dealing with a lot of situations where she's going to cause drama, and when she causes the drama, she will not be accountable for any of her actions. So that's something a lot of guys who are out here, they really don't understand, that she will play the victim, and it'll always be somebody else's fault. It'll be the no good man, the kids, baby, the mother, somebody else, and they never take any sort of examination of self. So these women never take examination of themselves and say, hey, I'm the one who is making the mess out of my life, and I need to take a minute and take a look at myself and take a look at my behavior. They don't really go out here and take that look at themselves. No, they just look for more people to use as tools. And that's why getting involved in a relationship with a single mom, it will sit there and you'll wind up in a situation where you'll get jammed up because she's going to send you out here to do some dirty work for her. And then when she sends you out here to do the dirty work, it's not her fault. No, it's your fault. And this is what happens to a lot of guys on shows like Snapped or the FBI Files. What will happen is single mom will tell one of her beta male boyfriends a story about how baby daddy is abusing her. And she'll go out here making herself out to be the victim. Then she'll tell dude to go out here and she has to kill this guy to protect her from her kids or protect her kids. And then as this guy is out here participating in this crime, he's going out here just murdering this dude. And what happens is that after he does this, he winds up in jail. And then she says it's not her fault. She says, oh, I didn't tell him to go out here and do this. But when he goes out here and does this, he's sitting there with his eyes bewildered, saying, oh, you told me to go do this. And these guys went up sitting up in a situation of it being his word against hers. And in the gynocentric court system, they're going to take her word over yours. And that's a situation a lot of guys get in because she'll sit there and cry about, oh, I was the victim of some sort of situation. And she'll get you to act on it. And when you act on it, you're the one spending 25 to life in prison, being traded for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, packs of Oreo cookies, Kit Kats, or cans of Dr. Pepper. And you're sitting there wondering how you got here. And you got here because you believed her stories about being a victim. And as you're believing her stories about being a victim, you're getting tuned up inside of the jail. And she's back out here with another dude. And that's what a lot of guys who get involved with single mothers don't understand. She'll be out here with another dude. And while you're fighting the other guy or looking to go out here and get rid of the other guy, she's out here with making plans to get with the next dude. Thank you, Black Fist Zoo, for the super chat. He says, Sean, you're very encouraging. I have much respect for you. Thanks for the great content. Thank you for watching my content, my channel. I do these live streams and these videos to help out young brothers so that they don't get taken advantage of. And I wrote this blog 10 years ago to help out many young men. And I'm still trying to help more men out here so that they don't get jammed up by these single mothers and they don't wind up in these kind of situations, because she's going to always make herself out to be the victim of some situation. And then you're going to be sitting there getting jammed up while she's still looking for the high value man to put this cape on and play Captain Save 'em. But the whole thing is, when you play Captain Save 'em, the only thing that's going to happen to you is you're going to get smashed in the face with a big old chunk of kryptonite doo-doo. She squats out and then smashes in your face. Because that's the point I pointed out in my book, Misadventures of Captain Save 'em, years ago, after I wrote that blog. Thank you, Cool Jet, for the super chat. He says, respect to you, Sean James. I hope we can do the show together. Just hit me up with an email at sjsdirectamerica@gmail.com. And we can do a show. I just dropped my email there. So you can just if you want to get me on your show, just schedule it by sending me an email. But the whole thing is that these guys out here, they put the cape on and they get smashed in the face with kryptonite doo-doo. And they get smashed in the face with the kryptonite doo-doo because they don't understand this woman is using you as a tool. Because she's using you as a tool, she doesn't see any value in you as a man. And that's because her emotions are tied to another man. And her emotions being tied to that other man, this is what leads to her having that Jekyll and Hyde personality. Now, your single mom will be the sweetest thing when you date her, but a few months into the relationship, she's gonna just turn on you. And a lot of these guys, they're gonna get glimpses of this when she chastises her kids in front of them, and that's because that's that spirit inside of her. Because again, that Jekyll and Hyde personality comes from those soul ties that she has to that other man, and that personality shift. It becomes much worse once you start having a sexual relationship with this woman, because that's when the soul ties that are connected to the previous man start having conflicts with your DNA and your spirit inside of her. And that's why you get the Jekyll and Hyde personality, where it just shifts from one to the other, and it really becomes her personality becomes extremely erratic. And that is because that spirit inside of her is having conflict with those other spirits. And as those spirits are having conflict with her, that's when she starts to go out here and starts turning on you. And really, it's really that spirit from that other man inside of her twisting things around, because she still has that bond with that other man. And that bond is stronger than the bond she has with you. And that's why when these guys start settling down with this woman, she'll start to become verbally abusive and start mocking you because she's got a lot of anger from that. She's got those soul tie with this other man, and she's got a lot of emotional hurt from that other man rejecting her. And as she's dealing with those soul ties and her spirit issues and dealing with the anger she has with that other man and the frustrations and pent up rage she has from that other man, she starts taking all of this stuff out on you. So you're sitting there thinking, oh, I can build a relationship with this woman. But the whole thing is, while she might, again, physically is there, emotionally and spiritually, she's still got all of these conflicts inside of her. And that's that part that wants to connect with you can't connect with you because she's connected to somebody else. And that spirit and those emotions want to stay with that other man. And that's what makes her lash out at you and have so much hate for you because she cannot go out here and bond with you because she has all of these feelings tied to this other person. And as she has those feelings tied to that other person, that's what makes her lash out at you and want to attack you. Because if she commits to you, then what happens is all of the connections to the other man wind up getting severed. And that's why a lot of these guys wind up having a nightmare with these women at the 6 month mark, because at the 6 month mark or the 7th month mark, that's when the monster really starts to come out. And when that monster comes out, what it does is that she's always lashing out at you, she's exploding at you, she's constantly angry at you. But what she's really angry about is the fact that she has these soul ties to this other man. She has this emotional connection to this other man. And subconsciously, she still wants that bond with that other man. And she can't, and since she still wants that bond subconsciously with that other man, what she does is she tries to subconsciously break up with you because she wants to have that relationship with that other man. And that's all due to the fact that again, she has already slept with this other man, had kids with this other man, has a bond with this other man, and she still wants that bond and connection with that other man. So that's why she's out here raging at you, because a lot of guys, they'll be in the relationship thinking everything is going fine, but she'll just come out and explode at you and come out and be filled with rage at you. And you'll be wondering, how did this happen? And it's an internal conflict inside of her as related to those soul ties. It's an internal conflict as related to that pair bond she has, and an internal connection as related to her spiritual issues and her emotional issues, because there's a lot of emotions she had with this previous man. And since she did not work that stuff out and has not dealt with that, what has happened is she's trying to push you away from her because she still wants to stay in this relationship. So that Jekyll and Hyde, this is one of the worst things that can happen to a guy, because once he has to deal with all of this, it's just horrific to deal with, because you'll be sitting there thinking everything is going to go fine, and then you have to deal with a moment where just you're sitting there and she's just screaming at you for no reason, and you're wondering, why is this woman screaming at me and exploding in a rage? I mean, you just came in for just to go see her, and then it's just rage, and then you have them sometimes they start pulling things like locking you out of your own home and doing all sorts of stuff. Again, that's anger at another dude. But the whole thing is that she wants that relationship with that other dude. But the whole thing is when she acts crazy like that, it drives the guy who gets involved with her away, and it leads to her winding up being single. So a lot of these women, they have the Jekyll and Hyde personality, but that comes again from those soul ties and those pair bonds that have not been severed, and it can just really mess you up if you don't know what's happening there. Now, this is one of the reasons why your single moms are a drama queen, because they always like to start drama. Now, your single mom is the queen of drama, and she's always got a problem. Again, it always goes back to her being the victim, and she's always looking to start something because she's insecure about her station in life. And because she's insecure about her emotional state in life and her financial state in life, she's always looking to test the boundaries. And that's why she's always starting drama. Now, an emotionally secure woman with a healthy pair bond, she really does not want a lot of drama. A woman who is already bonded to a man in a marriage, she's not really looking for a lot of drama. But this woman is going to be looking for a lot of drama because she can't get attention for herself, and she can't get attention because she doesn't know how to get her emotional needs met. Now, she doesn't know how to get her emotional needs met, and that's why she goes out here looking to start drama and always got something going. And over time, that's going to get to be very stressful for a dude to deal with. I mean, one of the worst things you could have to deal with is constantly coming home to drama, whether it be something with her kids, something with her at the job, something that's going on. I mean, this woman has more drama than Susan Lucci on All My Children. There's always something going on, and it just becomes a headache. And she's always looking for you to go out here and put on your little cape and your galoshes and play Captain Save them, trying to solve their problems. And what they want you to do that so they can feel some sense of value. And they want you to feel that they want to feel that sense of value because they need to deflect from the fact that their lives are really sad and pathetic, and they need that drama to make them feel some sort of worth. So you combine the drama queen with the Jekyll and Hyde personality, and you're just in for some really, really nightmare situations, because when you have the drama queen looking to start with you as related to things in her home, she'll like passively ask you to fix something. Then as you're trying to fix it, she blows up at you. And this is a 1-2 punch where the emotions are so erratic. You just say, look, I'm just going to throw up my hands and walk away. But a lot of guys, they'll sit there and try to work things out with the drama queen, but there is no working things out with the drama queen, because as you fix one problem, she escalates to another, and she escalates to another because that's all part of the crap testing that she does. And this crap testing that she does is designed to go out here and see what she can get away with and see how far she can get you to go out here and do what she needs. Again, it's one big crap test that the single mom pulls. And the whole thing is that many guys, they're not really critically thinking, and they will go out here and try to meet the crap test. But if you try to meet the crap test, you are going to lose, because the minute you try to solve one problem, she's going to create another and another until it gets so absurd to the point where you're not going to be able to solve. The only way you're going to solve the problem is to get out of town. So that's the only way you're going to solve the problem with this female, is getting out of town, because the only way you're going to solve the problem is getting away from her. Solo Cooper. Minister Jap mentioned my blog, Why Smart Men Avoid Single Mothers. I changed the name because the term real man I heard was gynocentric, but Minister Jap talked about that classic blog, and that classic, he was one of the many who talked about it over the years, and he put it on a video that went viral, that became very popular as well. So it's one of those blogs that everybody knows about. I mean, it's gone over a couple of million times. I believe people have copied and pasted it. People have made memes over it. I mean, people have constantly gone out here and talked about why real men have avoided single mothers. And as much as women try to debunk it, they cannot debunk it. I mean, it's practically irrefutable as related to facts, because I've seen these facts growing up in the South Bronx. And I know how manipulative many of these single moms are. And I've seen them run games on guys, making them pawns in their whole life. And the whole thing is, she sees you as the weakest chess piece in her chess game. And many cases, she's not interested in you. She's interested in getting your money to be able to go out here and get her hair done, get her nails done, get whatever she needs for her kids. And basically, you're just a utility and a tool that she uses. And sometimes, if she can, if her mama isn't around, she uses you as a part-time babysitter. So many guys out here thinking, oh, I'm going to get with this woman and have a relationship with her. No, she's just using you to get from point A to point B. And a lot of times she's basically just using you as an ATM to buy her kids toys, buy herself stuff, and then go out here and use you for babysitting services. And then what she uses, and then she goes out here and uses her money to go out here and do whatever she wants. And she then also uses you as a pawn to go out here and make the baby daddy jealous, because that's the guy who she really is having a relationship with. Now, she's having the relationship with the baby daddy. She has the bonds with the baby daddy. She has the spiritual connection with the baby daddy. She has the relationship with the baby daddy. You're not having a relationship outside of going out here and being a financial provider. And that's all she sees you as. Again, what a lot of guys don't understand is that your single mom has guys on her rotation, and the guy who she's dating is usually the last guy at the bottom. That's the guy at the bottom who is sitting there getting strung along, getting played, because again, the baby daddy has first access. The baby daddy has the soul ties. The baby daddy has the bond. And when the baby daddy looks at her in a certain way, that baby daddy is going to get that skid mark thong dropped, and he's not going to have to go out here and buy her some chicken from the red and white chicken place, or some shrimp fried rice and chicken wings. No, he ain't got to do all of that, because he's the first man in her life in many cases. So you're sitting there thinking, oh, I've got a shot. No, you're just a pawn to try to make him jealous. And in a lot of cases, that's what they do. Because again, the woman feels very low value about herself. She has low self-esteem because she's had this kid with this man and she's not getting the attention that she wanted. Because in a lot of cases, what she's doing is she's looking to manipulate said dude into having a relationship on her terms. And a lot of single moms, like we're in the South Bronx, what they would do is they would try to trick the guy into loving them, because they think if they have the baby for the guy will love them. But what they don't understand is relationships don't work like that. So they're thinking, oh, I'll trick this guy into loving me by having this baby. But the whole thing is that that's all their insecurities about relationships. And because they're insecure about relationships, what they do is try to manipulate the guy into loving them instead of trusting them. And it's this lack of faith, ironically, that leads to their relationship falling apart with the baby daddy. And it leads to them looking to play these games with other men. And again, this is not a situation that is optimal to you, because you didn't sign on for all of this drama. You didn't sign on for all of these headaches. You didn't sign on for all of this. And you didn't sign on for this, but you don't know what you're getting into, because your single mother is a liar and she's extremely dishonest. And it's that dishonesty that leads to this woman being very predatory. A lot of these guys are sitting there thinking, oh, I'm dealing with a woman who is honest and on the level. But a lot of times these females are not honest and on the level. And they're not honest and on the level because they have already been burnt by one man. They know that they have a tarnished reputation, and they need to try to manipulate some guy into being a part of their lives. And they want to manipulate that guy into being a part of their life. So they start telling the lies from minute one. And as you enter into that soul situation with that web of lies, you wind up in a nightmare situation where you're practically wondering what is the truth. And that is what happens when a lot of guys in the South Bronx used to get involved with these single mothers. They would just lie all the time, whether it's about their age, their height, their weight, how many kids, how many men they've been with, how many guys they have relationships with. I mean, you just get so many lies, and those lies they're just overwhelming to deal with. And it's like opening up a can of worms as related to a relationship with this woman, because just as you're thinking things are going good, she reveals more secrets. And just like I talked about last week about the skeleton bones, you find out that there's a whole host of skeleton bones. And as you're entering into that graveyard, you're finding out there are a lot of bodies up in there, and many of those bodies they're in you don't want to know what condition these bodies are in. I mean, this woman has lots of bodies in that graveyard, and you're sitting there thinking, "Oh, I'm the only one involved with this woman who's only possibly just been with the baby daddy." No, there are other guys in that graveyard, and you don't know about them unless you go out here and take a ride on a bus like I used to when I used to try to go to the library or I'd go out on errands. Well, I would pass by the courthouse in the South Bronx, and I would hear these women sitting there talking about how they were going to go out here and get the money from one guy to get their hair and nails done, or I would hear them talk about how they're going to take the child support money and go out here and spend it on themselves. And you're sitting there thinking, "Oh, she's really suffering because this man's not paying the child support." No, a lot of times the guys, they're getting their checks garnished and the child support is being paid, but she's out here spending the money not on the kids, but spending it on herself. And in some cases, she's got another side dude that she's spending the money on. She's got another Pookie in the corner. So you're sitting there thinking, again, that the baby daddy is not treating her right. He's not good. She's all by. There's another Pookie out there who she's taking child support money from one dude and then handing it over to another dude. And he's out here wearing fly sneakers and wearing the finest. Or she's financing whatever rap career or whatever dream that he has. And you're sitting there thinking, "Oh, everything is just so bad with this woman." But there's a lot of skeleton bones in the single mom's closet, and you don't even know how deep that graveyard is. I mean, some of these graveyards, they're really deep, and you don't know what you're getting into in there because this woman, again, she has lots of secrets, and those secrets have her having all of this emotional baggage, and that this woman, in a lot of cases, is carrying more baggage than an Amtrak train. And her carrying all of this baggage, this is another reason why you get the Jekyll and Hyde personality. This is why you get the manipulative nature. She's got a lot of secrets and skeletons, and this is so much stuff that it would be overwhelming for a psychiatrist to deal with. It would sort of be like the situation if you ever watched Batman the Animated Series, the episode Mad Love, where Harley Quinn, the doctor who was sent to treat the Joker, became insane. That's what's going to happen to you if you get involved with some of these single mothers. You're going to wind up in a situation where you're going to be trying to help this woman work through her numerous problems, and you're going to become as crazy as she is, because this Arkham certified female, she's just so manipulative and so twisted on the inside. You're going to wind up in a situation where you're dealing with her insanity, and it's going to make you insane. And she just, again, has so much baggage. What happens to a lot of guys as they're going insane, they wind up putting on the white servant's jacket, and they wind up serving up the tea cakes and coffee in her home as the butler. And as they're in that home as the butler, they wind up wondering how they wound up here, because as they're out here trying to carry her baggage from one station in life to the next, they're wondering how they can get off this train. And the whole thing is, this woman carries more baggage than an Amtrak train and a semi-moving truck. I mean, you're dealing with all sorts of insanity from these previous boyfriends, from her numerous multiple partners, and even her messed up home life. And it just becomes a complete nightmare to deal with. And again, this is what happens to a lot of guys. They get involved with the single mom thinking it's going to be easier, but they wind up having a harder time in life. And this is what I saw growing up in the South Bronx from being 9 years old on up. And I wanted a lot of men out here to understand what type of nightmare they would be dealing with. And that's why I wrote the classic blog, Why Real Men Avoid Single Mothers. because I wanted men to avoid winding up in a situation that would practically destroy their lives. I didn't want to see another man wind up in prison for murdering another man as related to the game some of these women played. I didn't want to see a man locked up for attempted murder or being presented with a place where they had to think about being a hitman for this woman. And I didn't want to see another man wind up in a situation where he's having to deal with allegations of, of abusing children. I didn't want to see another man wind up in these kind of situations because life is too short out here. I mean, God gave us the greatest gift, which is life. And life is something that you don't want to waste time going out here getting involved with a toxic person like a single mother, when you can go out here and live an abundant life with a woman who wants to be a helpmeet and a support to you as a wife. Because there are women out here who want to be a helpmeet and a support to you as a wife. There are women who are out here who want to be a partner in a relationship. There are women who are childless out here, and you can build a relationship with them and not have to deal with this woman and her problems that she is obligated to work with that other man. I mean, why should you sit there and try to solve problems that aren't yours, problems she created with somebody else? No, you should be out here understanding your value as a man, understanding your worth as a man, and dealing with a woman who wants to build with you as a partner. That's who you should be dealing with, not trying to go out here and take a shortcut like a lot of guys try to do, trying to get involved with a single mother. And that's what I wanted men to understand from that classic blog, that you shouldn't be out here going out here wasting the most valuable and tangible you have in this life, which is time. And that blog, I hope, as I've seen it, has transformed millions of lives around the globe. And I'm really happy to see that a lot of men are reading that blog and learning from that blog and being able to start focusing on themselves. Because if you have self-worth and self-esteem, you're not going to want to deal with a single mother, because you understand that you can do better than somebody else's woman. You can do better than dealing with somebody else's woman, because God has a woman for you. So why should you deal with a woman who is already spiritually bonded to another man, bearing the children of another man, and still in a relationship with another man? No matter how much she tells you it's over, it's never over. That relationship is never finished, and she will still be with that man even though she is with you. So why should you be last in life when God made you to be first? He made you to be a head. He made you to be a steward, and a responsible steward wants to be responsible over a family that is his own. And that's another reason why men need to avoid a single mom, because she'll sit there and want to have the other man's kids, but she won't want to have your kids. I mean, your kids are going to be put last, and her kids with the other dude, are going to be put first. So that's what I've seen happen to a lot. And I've also seen kids get mistreated, because when you have kids by two different fathers, neither kid's set is made to be a priority, and it's just not a good optimal situation for children. It's just not one that is healthy for kids to be in. And that's something I saw also growing up in the South Bronx. I mean, a lot of kids get mistreated by stepfathers because the stepfather is angry because he cannot bond with the woman the way he wants to. He can't connect with the woman he wants to. And he can't do that because, again, the woman has soul ties to another man. And because she has the soul tie to this man, she can't bond, and he can't go out here and have that relationship. And with the kids defying his authority at every turn, he's feeling frustrated and angry. And it leads to a lot of guys exploding in rage, where they wind up beating up kids and then winding up becoming one of these beta males that I talk about in The Man Crisis, and then on his way to getting locked up and again being traded for those little Debbie snack cakes. Because when you wind up in prison as a result of one of these single moms and you do some time for hurting one of those kids, they're not going to be nice to you in prison. They're going to see you as a child beater. And that's one of the worst things you could ever wind up being. And you're going to get curb stomped inside of the prison. So, again, a lot of guys, they just need to understand you just need to leave the single mother alone because the single mother isn't worth the grief. She isn't worth the stress. She isn't worth getting your life completely disrupted. I mean, you can, if you want to go out here and have a relationship, go out here and have a relationship with a woman who does not have children, because when you get involved with a woman who has no children, you can talk to her about having a family, and you can sit there and talk to her about planning a family that both of you agree you want to have. And that's what something you want to do is have a conversation about your family and have a conversation about the family you want to have so that your children will be legitimate, your children will be yours, and your children will be under your authority, not under the authority of the state. Because when she goes out here and has the kids with the baby daddy, that's who you're going to be dealing with and the nightmares you're going to be dealing with in the system. So you want to be able to sit there and talk to her about having those kids and having them with you and agreeing with you. You don't want to deal with single mom and dealing with all the nightmares you're dealing with because, again, the same way she put that man on child support is the same way she can put you on child support. And I've seen that happen in the South Bronx too. I mean, I've seen guys go from, oh, he's talking bad about the guy being put on child support, not being able to pay his child support, to her sitting there saying, oh, you're not the one paying the child support, even though the check that you get money garnished off your check every 2 weeks to show that you're paying the child support. She's bad mouthing you, and all the while she's bad mouthing you, she's out here going out here and getting her hair and nails done with the kids' money, and she's going out here buying Jordans and buying all sorts of stuff and buying $2,000 iPhones and stuff like that. I mean, she's blowing the money. Then she's got the kids running around in raggedy clothes, and your kids are not getting taken care of in this situation because you're dealing with an emotionally immature woman who is still trying to live like she was when she was 18, 19 years old, and the kids are suffering. Now, some of these females, they'll sit there and try to deflect by saying, oh, there's a difference between a teen mother and a single mother, and there is no difference between them. So when they try to do that type of deflection, I'm sitting there going, no, that's a deflection. There's no difference between a teen mom and a single mom because I've seen women who were 35, 40, even 50 pulling the same games. And it just shows me that a lot of your single moms, while they grow old, they never grow up. And they never grow up because a lot of these women do not want to go out here and learn how to work with a man because they have been corrupted by feminism to still think that being a woman is being forever young. That's a point I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis, and it's one that I go into extensively, and it's one that I go in depth on because it's one of the reasons why we have so many single moms and why we have so much chaos. Now, when it comes down to men, you have to understand that being in a situation with a single mom is not an optimal one. It is not one that is good for you. And that's why I wrote the blog 10 years ago, and I wanted to help men. And I'm really glad to see that it's still helping men. And I'm hoping that more men are continuing to be helped by that blog because this being involved with a single mother is not a good situation for you. It is not a optimal place for you. And you wind up losing many valuable years out of your life, years that you could spend going out here building your own business, years you could spend working towards moving yourself forward, years you could spend investing in yourself. And if you have a little bit of self-esteem, a little bit of self-worth, you can go out here and live a richer and more abundant life by yourself. And possibly God will lead you to a woman who will be a wife who will help you build your own home, build your own family, and build something, because getting involved with a single mom in a lot of cases leads to your whole life being torn down. And I didn't want to see guys get their lives torn down, like I saw when I was a boy growing up in the 1980s. I didn't want to see guys winding up with their lives getting completely destroyed. And that's why I went out here and wrote the classic blog, Why Real Men Avoid Single Mothers. And then I made a classic video that's gotten close to 100,000 views. So I'm glad to see more men out here, still continuing to read the blog and learn from the blog. And that's one of the reasons why I keep doing men's issues videos and men's issues blogs. These days, I do more men's issues videos than blogs these days. But that classic blog was the foundation for a lot of the books that I wrote, like Stop Simping, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, Manginas, Misadventures of Captain Save 'Em, The Man Crisis, and the upcoming Woman Crisis. And the information there, I wanted to make sure it was the best it could be. And one of the indicators that the information is the best it could be is seeing people still learning from that information almost a decade later. Because in this information age, information comes and goes. And a lot of times people don't see information as valuable after a couple of days. But this blog seems to have been valuable to people for close to a decade. And that just shows how high quality the writing was, because people are still talking about it. People are still debating it. And it just shows, again, a indicator to, just the quality of the writing, that people still are talking about this blog. And 10 years later, it is still transforming the lives of a lot of men. And I'm hoping that it would transform the lives of a generation of men towards seeing their own worth as men and understanding that they can definitely do better than a single mom out here. Now, I'm going to get ready to wrap up tonight's stream. And I would like everybody to head over to Amazon.com and pick up Isis Legacy on Kindle and paperback. This is a story about positive Black women and the legacy and the woman's role as related to the legacy in a family, because the woman has an important role in a legacy, and that is she is the teacher of culture. And when you have a good woman and she's the teacher of culture and she teaches your children to value what you have brought on here and built, your kids will take what you have built and take it into the next generation. So this is the 20th book in the Isis series. And this is a book I made that celebrates the 10th anniversary of the Isis series. So I'm asking everybody to pick up Isis Legacy on Amazon.com. And I'm asking everybody to pick up all the other men's issues books on Amazon, such as Stop Simping in the Workplace, Stop Simping in Cyberspace, Misadventures of Captain Save 'Em, The Man Crisis, and Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. You can find all of those books on Amazon.com by clicking the link in the chat, and you can find all of those books and have your lives transformed, like many brothers and sisters out here have had their lives transformed. And if you want to see me make more live streams like this, you can donate to the Super Chat, or you can donate to the Cash App. And I want to take a minute to thank Grey Grooves 545 for the Super Chat. I really appreciate your support. And I appreciate the ongoing support of everyone out here, because I really want to keep producing more great men's issues content for you. And I can't do that without your support. But I want to thank everybody for coming out to tonight's stream. And I really appreciate you coming out and spending your night with me. And I hope you'll be there for next week's stream. Have a good evening and have a great weekend.